Hello guys, Gladiator Bricks here with a review on weapons of warfare. Pretty much old swords and medieval weapons. These are only weapons I've read a bunch on. We'll start off with the ones that are not very good in my opinion. The old ball and chain weapons. Now these kind of things I think were made for just like giving you some ranged attacks, so as you were fighting you could probably damage armor with it, but I don't really know much about this weapon because I don't read much about it. But it's a weapon I actually think was pretty useful and gained some range on your enemy, so ball and chain would easily. Now ahead of time I'm going to say all of these weapons I'm showing here are Brick Warriors. You can easily get them online. You can get them pretty much in any place almost. Seems like they're even being sold in Toys R Us still, I think. Actually, I think you can get them on Toys R Us's website, which is pretty nice. So let's go ahead and put that back. Warhammer. Now the Warhammers were very nice weapons. These were originally made to actually bust the enemy's helmet. This was made for busting helmets, but it was a really heavy weapon. So if you were fighting with it, you would easily be fatigued from it. So it'd be a weapon that you can easily fatigue yourself in. And if you're wondering, fatigue is sorry about hitting the camera by accident. Fatigue is when you get very tired and exhausted during combat or something. It's very easy to get fatigued from a heavy weapon. So any weapons that are extremely heavy and hard to work with would automatically wind up with you wore out, and you'd have to go into the back of your lines of your men and try to rest. And you could still probably hurt yourself or get killed in battle without even trying, because you'd still have to rest. And if your lines were starting to being pushed back, you'd have to risk getting up and running. You couldn't lie down in a suit of armor because it was impossible to get up. But this weapon was made for smashing through suits of armor, so you could probably even shatter shields. But during a certain medieval time, full suits of armor would never be worn. I mean, they would be worn. I mean, there would be no shield with a full suit of armor. That's actually according to a friend of mine, that's medieval hogwash. And I'm like, oh, so my image of a knight in shining armor with a cool shield has been completely destroyed. There goes my childhood. Oh well. And then we'll go on to the Egyptian sword. Now the Egyptian sword I don't know much about. I might have to read some more on it. By the looks of it, I think you could slice in several different forms. You could probably go around the guy's neck with it, like this, and probably have the guy like standing in front of you. You could like probably capture somebody with a sword like this. Just put it around their neck and be like, you're under arrest or something. But I don't think it was meant for capturing. I think it was meant for going around curved areas on something. So you could probably move very quickly with this sword. You could probably fight very quickly with it. It's a very nice sword. I actually believe I don't really believe it's real, so I'm going to have to look up some ancient Egyptian weapons and such, see if it's an actual weapon. And of course, the Spartan sword. Now, if you guys are probably going to say, we knew you'd bring Spartan sword up. Yeah, Spartans are my favorite warrior type, but they're not my favorite sword. This is not my favorite type of sword. This sword, though, is for close combat defense. It's not as long as a normal sword. Here, give me a second if I can find a sword or something. I'll use this sword for comparison. See? This sword is shorter than the other one, which is not going. But this sword is a pretty good blade to work with. You could slice forward. You could jab. You could hide behind your shield as you were using it too. So if somebody got too close to your shield, you could just jab the sword across and actually get them as they were trying to get through your shield. And that was about what this sword was designed for. So the Spartan could hide behind the shield even more. So it was like this. I'd be standing, if I lost my spear in battle, I'd be drawing out the sword, the short sword, and my shield would be in front of me. And I'd be like this. I would be Like, as in battle, it would be like, as soon as you got too close, I mean, as soon as you were trying to get past my shield, that's what would happen. That was pretty good. But now on to the next weapon, dagger. Daggers were used throughout history, so there's probably several different versions of daggers, but they were for close combat attacks, and a lot of archers and other types of soldiers foot soldiers used them. In fact, I think there's a type of soldier you see in the For Honor video games that uses both a short sword, and a dagger, and she moves very quickly, or he or she, whichever it is. Let's move on to the next weapon. My favorite, the Viking sword in history, the Viking longsword. We will enter Valhalla. We shall enter Valhalla. Just kidding. Yeah, it's a pretty good looking sword. I like the designs of the weapon. This is actually very accurate with the actual Viking sword if you look closely. So that's why I'm showing you this. But the Viking swords, the Vikings were very impressive characters, but they are not as impressive as the Spartans were. But they both had the same basic principle of defending yourself using your shield. They would have the same, I think they had some, they were pretty, what's the word, they're very, they were much alike, because they both had this, they both used shields. If you take a look, I'm going to show you something really quick. Viking shield and Spartan shield. They're almost alike. Both shields are almost identical in size and design, which makes me wonder if this there. But it's a pretty good idea. But now we'll move on to my favorite weapon, period. An axe. Now you're probably going to say, why would you like the axe better than a sword? Well, axes were in battle. Vikings used axes in some pretty impressive ways. They would use it to disarm a guy of a sword or a different kind of weapon. As you were hiding behind your shield, you would be attacking with another weapon, and automatically you would disarm him of the sword with using the axe. Let's show you the axe. This is actually a Viking axe, which is pretty cool. As you can see, it's very easy. You could do that same kind of thing in Lego form very easily. Anyways, you could disarm people with their swords and easily take them down. They'd have to hide behind their shields completely. You could also lock under their leg and even send them on their back and then take them out where they were down. Now, of course, we'll go on to the next weapon and the last weapon of my review. I hate to even bring this weapon up. This was a weapon used in tournaments and other stuff. It was called the lance. In my opinion, I never did like the lance. I mean, it was just a weapon that I think was used for tournament, but I think it was used for combat too. I don't really know if it was. But a lot of times I see a knight in shining armor rushing on horseback with his weapon and be like, take out the dragon. And either way, it was not very good of a weapon in my opinion. I mean, lances, really? Let's say you were knocked off the horse and you had this lance as your only weapon. You'd be pretty funny to watch as you were trying to jab around with the lance. Ah, get back, get back. It'd be like the guy's rushing you with a sword and you'd be like, get back, get back, get back. And the lance is probably extremely heavy, so you'd be like holding it with both hands as you were doing it, and then after a few hours you'd get fatigued and the guy could rush in with the sword and then yeah. You can tell I'm joking around, Kish. Yeah. I doubt it ever would have ever happened, but hey. We gotta start somewhere with talking. Of course, this is like I said, all those weapons I showed you were brick warriors, so you could probably go get them from Amazon, eBay, Toys R Us, or Five Below. I do recommend going to Five Below right now, or just buying them online, because it seems like Toys R Us has quit selling them. It just is mine, and I'm hoping it's only my Toys R Us that's quit selling them. Because I pretty much, in a way, that's kind of ruined where I've bought a lot of my stuff, of my grab bags. Well, anyways, that's it for today. Comment, subscribe, let me know in the videos if you liked my reviews or talks about historical weapons. If you'd like me to do more reviews, I will read up some more history on some weapons and let you know if I can do some more reviews on them.